All right, today we're jumping into the world of private clouds. We're going to untangle what's probably one of the most critical relationships in modern infrastructure, VMware Cloud Foundation, VCF, and NSX. We're here to demystify how these two powerhouses really work together. So let's get into it. So I want you to start with this question right here. Is what you're running a messy pile of products, or is it a truly unified factory? Because honestly, how you answer that really gets to the core of the problem that VCF and NSX are built to solve. Are you just managing a bunch of separate pieces, or are you running a smooth, integrated system? That difference? Well, it's everything. Okay, so let's get the official definition on the table. VCF is not just a bundle of software. It's really best understood as an operating model. Think of it like the blueprint and all the machinery for building and running your data center in a consistent way, pulling together all those core pieces, compute, storage, and networking, with that super important piece, lifecycle management. Now, to really make this click, we're going to use a simple but really powerful analogy for this whole explainer. I want you to think of VCF as the factory itself. It's the building, the assembly lines, the processes. It's the whole shebang designed to produce and maintain a consistent, high-quality product. And in our case, that product is your private cloud. So if VCF is the factory, let's take a look inside. VCF, like we said, is the structure, but a factory is pretty useless without all the stuff inside, right? That's where NSX comes in. Think of NSX as all the critical infrastructure, the plumbing, the electrical wiring, the security systems that actually make the factory work. And those supporting tools, well, those are your control panels, the dashboards and automation that let you see what's going on and keep that assembly line humming. So let's dig into our first big idea here. A factory isn't just a static building, right? It has two main modes. It has to build stuff, and then it has to operate day to day. The relationship between VCF and NSX works exactly the same way. It's all about these two critical flows. And this slide lays it out perfectly. On the left, you've got the build and lifecycle flow. This is like the factory's construction and maintenance crew. It's VCF's main job to make sure all the machinery gets installed correctly, that all the versions are compatible, and that upgrades happen in a really controlled, predictable way, to stop things from just blowing up. Then on the right, you've got the day-to-day operate and troubleshoot flow. This is all about visibility. When an alarm goes off, you need to know why. This flow is what helps you figure out, is this a platform problem, a network policy issue, or something wrong with the app itself? And this is the real takeaway. The big point here is that thinking about lifecycle isn't just some boring administrative task. It's basically a safety feature for your network. When your platform and your network get upgraded together in a coordinated way, you prevent all those mysterious random failures that are an absolute nightmare to track down. VCF is what enforces that discipline. Okay, so that's the theory, but let's get practical. How does this actually play out in the real world with, real teams? Who's responsible for what on the factory floor? This is where the org chart meets the tech. Usually it breaks down kind of like this. You've got your cloud or platform team. They own the factory itself. So they handle the VCF deployment, the upgrades, and keeping the whole fleet standardized. Then you have the network and security team. They own what happens inside that factory's network. They're the ones designing the NSX topology, figuring out the routing, and writing all those critical firewall roles. And this brings us right to you. See, in a lot of roles, your most valuable skill is being the translator between these two worlds. You're the one who has to understand both sides of the coin to figure out if an issue is, say, a physical network problem that the platform team owns, or if it's a messed up firewall rule in NSX that the network team needs to fix. And that idea leads us to our final and maybe most important section. It's all about developing the mindset of a master technician. Look, it's not about knowing every single button in every tool. It's about knowing how to solve problems and how to do it fast. All right, so let's start with what not to do. You got to avoid these 4 common traps that'll have you spinning your wheels for hours. First, never ever treat VCF and NSX like they're separate things. They are deeply connected, and a version mismatch is a one-way ticket to an outage. Second, know the difference between the control plane, the brains, and the data plane, where the traffic actually flows. Third, and oh man, this is a big one, never just blindly trust a green dashboard. Green lights can lie. And last, don't go in blind. You need a map of your components so you know what's what. So what do you do instead? You follow this simple 3-step diagnostic process. Before you even think about clicking on a tool, you start by asking a question. First, is the platform itself healthy? Check your VCF level views for that. If that looks good, you move to step 2. Is the network intent correct? So you check your NSX topology and your policies. And only if both of those look okay do you finally move to step 3. Where is the traffic actually going? Now's the time to break out those deep dive flow analysis tools. And this quote from the source material just absolutely nails it. This is that master technician mindset. It's not about being loyal to one dashboard or another. A fast, effective operator doesn't care which tool is the best. They care about which tool is going to prove or disprove their current theory the fastest. It's all about speed to insight. So we'll leave you with this scenario. You walk in one morning, the main dashboard is glowing a nice, happy green, but a critical app is totally down. Based on everything we just talked about, what's the very first question you ask yourself to start unraveling that problem?